Y'all, I think this is my favorite week in Ready to Love each and every season. It's the Getaway. Stay tuned. Hi there, Simply Stubbies. Welcome back to the Simply Stacey YouTube channel. It is your girl, Stacey, and we are talking Ready to Love, season number 6, episode number 9, The Getaway. Okay, so we know every season they find a Airbnb or some of the sort, some kind of mansion or cabin or something for all the remaining couples to stay in. Now, mind you, it's not coupled off at this point. Some people know who their number ones and number twos are, but I don't think at this point there are any like connections where there's nobody else. Except, of course, we know Joy only likes Clinton. Laverne went home. She didn't have any other connections. But it's mostly full of drama. So that's why this is my favorite episode. Okay, let's get right to it. Okay, so Clifton arrives. I believe Joy and Ikea, like, you know that's a love triangle right there. They all get there right smack dab around the same time. Clifton goes and finds a bed. He puts his luggage on it. Joy comes in, figures out where Clifton's luggage is, and puts her luggage on the bed next to it. Ikea apparently sees the luggage, the two sets of different luggage on the bed. Like, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, who actively be trying to figure out, oh, this person didn't bring two mixed match pieces of luggage? Because they were like duffel bags. It wasn't like some Louis Vuitton luggage and then, you know, a Samsonite. So you could be like, yeah, the two of these things are not like the other. You know, something is amiss. Anyway, she figured it out. Sabrina comes. And Sabrina like, well, let's just call a spade a spade. She gets in the kitchen. Clifton is in there. Ikea's in there. And she was like, oh, one of those beds got two things of luggage on it. Clifton tried his best to play it like he don't know that Joy's luggage is on the bed with his. He like, what? Let me go see. I like Clifton. You're not fooling anyone. So Clifton goes and he look on the bed and he come back and he said, oh, that's Joy's luggage. Now, you know Dakia feeling some kind of way because she done got rid of Eric because he mishandled her. She didn't like it. Whatever it is he did, she didn't like it. There was this lame her and Paul date with his friend, which they hadn't even dated before, and they did go on a singular date. But, like, her connection is with Clifton. That's all. That's it. So she feel away because, of course, she thought on this getaway they were going to get more time together. And if him and Joy are planning to sleep in the same bed, then, you know, where does that leave her? And you know what? I ain't going to even be mad about it because the truth of the matter is, although Clifton is doing exactly what Clifton wants to do, Clifton could have easily said, you know what, Joy, because I still got a connection with Ikea and you, I don't think that's real appropriate. You know, I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable on this getaway. So we probably should not share a bed. Because literally, the room had one bed in it. I'm sure some had bunk beds, some had two beds. That one had a bed. Okay, so it already started off with a little bit of drama. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. Then I believe Tommy comes in and lets them know that Tina got car trouble and she's just not going to be there anytime soon. Basically, she's going to be late. So everybody like, okay, cool. Next up, Tori and Demetrius are outside on the patio, I guess you could call it. And they're having this conversation, which is like, in my mind, I'm like, why y'all even talking? Tori, like, you know, after that Truth or Dare game, mind you, that was like week 2. After that Truth or Dare game, me and Sabrina really haven't been the same since. And, you know, I was just trying to figure out, like, kind of where y'all stand. And Demetrius is like, I mean, both of us got a connection with Sabrina. Like, there really is nothing to talk about at this point. Now, Tori does tell the confessional, I believe, that he said he wasn't being as responsive to Sabrina. Like, after all that happened, he just kind of, like, bagged away. And she was kind of doing more of the pursuing at first until she wasn't. Because we know Sabrina has 3 connections. Donovan, Demetrius, and then Tori was the last one. Because I think he let that affect his mood and his process. And so, yeah, he was too busy trying to get back at her by kissing Precious when she left. That Sabrina really ain't checking for Tori no more. But anyway, he wanted to talk to Demetrius to see where their connection stood. So I was like, okay, pointless conversation because both of y'all need to be talking to Sabrina at this point. That's really what I feel. Okay, next up is Sabrina and Donovan. So Sabrina does pull Donovan aside. Now, I think this is her strongest connection. If I'm going to be shipping somebody, it is definitely Sabrina and Donovan. But now, when she met with his best friend, Phil, from season 5, he gave her a little bit of concern. She had a couple of red flags, and I think one being like she had to, ask him again, like, how long have you been divorced? How long have you been by yourself? When was your last relationship? And I think he said 3 to 4 months. So that is really, really soon. And she's like, I don't want to get invested in something long term because I too am divorced, but it's been a while for me. It hasn't really been a while for you. And in her mind, she's like, I don't want to put myself in a predicament to where he really just want to play the field. So she asks, like, what are you looking for out of this? Do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to be married? Like, what are you looking for, a girlfriend or just somebody to kind of like hang out with? He says that he doesn't want to really play the field. And I think he said he wanted something serious. Not necessarily marriage. He didn't say nor relationship, but like he did say he wanted something serious. So from what he's saying, he said the right things, but I don't think that Sabrina is 100% sold. Next up, there's a moment with Paul and Carmen. Now, Carmen did come on the date where Dakia was with the best friend, Chill Bill. And I just don't know how her vibe was. Like, when her and Paul had a date by themselves, it seemed smooth. It seemed like they were on the same wavelength. But when she was on the one with Chill Bill, he said something about his name being P.O.G. or P.O. something. That was his nickname. And she looked at her friend and was like, I call him Paul. From now on, you will refer to him as Paul. And I was like, girl, now, first of all, you're doing too much. You're not being a girl like that. And that man can be called whatever you want to be called. This man been knowing her for years, 20 probably, or more. So, like, it really wasn't good vibes. And, of course, the friend was like, you seem like you'll be controlled. So, I don't know how the conversation went with Paul and his friend after that. But I wasn't really feeling the Carmen Paul situation. Because she was too busy going back and forth with Dakia or, trying to take shots at Dakia, when I'm like, girl, just be on a date and just be who you are. Don't worry about the other people. But every conversation she seems to have, she's always trying to talk about somebody else. And I don't like it. Like, just be confident in who you are. Either they like you or they don't. Anyway, they was having a conversation, and you could tell that Paul wasn't necessarily feeling it. He was like, Tina's MIA. And at this point, that was one of my stronger connections. But you here, so she like, I'm going to try to take advantage of this. Tina not here, whatever. She talking to him. And she want to see whether Paul or Donovan, either one of them going to step up. And Paul basically was just like, he really wasn't giving her vibes, good vibes. So I was like, I think Paul is kind of over you. He does that really quickly. He did that with Precious. They was all in. She started acting a certain way on that one pool party day. He didn't like it. She was a wrap. She left. She went home. Carmen, same thing. He not really feeling her. Okay, next up is Dakia and Clifton. So, Clifton really owed Dakia a conversation. They out on the patio, and it's so funny because neither one of them are really trying to bring up the elephant in the room, i.e. Joy's bags on his bed and her sleeping with him this weekend. So, Dakia's like, I really just feel like Clifton should be saying something to me. He should explain himself or something. Like, now, mind you, he don't owe her nothing. He's not in a relationship with either one of them. But the fact that he knows that those are his strong connections, he could have, one, asked Joy not to please sleep there. I know you want to. I want to too. But let's just not do it in front of her. Two, he could have just came to Dakia and be like, hey, Dakia, I kind of made my choice. And I'm going to be kind of with Joy, but letting her know and not letting her find out that way. Anyway, she's basically kind of not standoffish, but she kind of got an attitude when they talking. He trying to talk about the weather and just here and there little stuff around the way. And it's just, she not feeling it. She said she's disappointed in him. And basically he kind of sidestepping what's going on. She was trying to do her little flirty thing like they do. oh my goodness, I can't even remember what exactly she said, but she did make a comment. I don't know if it was about the temperature, like being on 63, and he said something like it used to be on 69. Or she's like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't say 69 or something. Whatever it was, he was not biting. He wasn't going back with her with the banter, and you could just tell that their vibes were completely off. Okay, next up, Donovan and Joy are talking. Now, we all know Joy ain't got no another connection. So that's just our friend. And she's just trying to get to the bottom of how he feeling about people. So basically, he likes Sabrina, but he says a lot of wolves circling her. So, you know, basically I gotta do what I do. But I was like, dang, for them to like each other, they only talked that one time. They weren't really like entertaining one another a lot. But I do understand that Sabrina was also trying to figure out her other connections. Carmen goes and interrupts Joy and Donovan because, you know, her and Paul, that was a bust. Eric is gone. That was her real number one. And so now she like Donovan is basically her number one, but she wants to see if people want to get her. He gave her more attention. He reassured her that he likes her. He was touching her leg like she enjoys, and so she felt good about that. I still think Donovan's number one connection is Sabrina, and if Sabrina picks him, he's picking Sabrina. I really don't think it's with Carmen. I really don't see them together, but I think she really likes him. So then people start talking about Tina, and Donovan finds out, well, he tries to call her, he doesn't get a response. And the other guys are basically like, I mean, we really ain't got no connection with her. Like, and Paul was like, well, if she ain't here, then we may as well just move on. Like, basically, nobody had such a strong connection with Tina that they was really missing her. The women, like, especially Joy. Joy was like, whatever, she not here. Let's get over it and move along. So I'm like, the producers must have asked him about her because really nobody was studying her. And then all of a sudden, there's all this talk about Tina. Sabrina goes and finally has a conversation with Demetrius, who remember was her number one from the beginning, but she told Phil, Donovan's best friend from season 5, that Donovan came late to the game, but he leapfrogged over the rest of them. So right now I think Donovan is her top. She does have some concerns, but now she has concerns with Demetrius too. One being when she went on his friend date, his friend mentioned something about submission. She didn't like it. So, you know, she's very vocal and she has an opinion about stuff. And she can't be dating nobody who don't let her have an opinion or part of the decision-making process. And so she talks to him and she makes an effort to sit next to him at dinner. And she's like, I mean, do you like me? And he was like, well, I must be doing something wrong if she's my strongest connection here and she doesn't even know I like her. And I'm like, that's what it is. So Demetrius is so chill. Like, Tori was high strung. He couldn't take that somebody else liked her and she liked somebody else over him. Demetrius just be real chill with it. He knows she like other people, but he not like pursuing. He feel like whatever he doing, what a little bit he doing is fine. I'm like, sir, you got competition. You can't just be resting on your laurels. So apparently she don't know. I guess everybody goes to get comfortable. They come back with their PJs. They having a little pajama party in the living room. Clifton has on a Minions onesie, and Joy has on some other animal, fairy tale, maybe unicorn. I don't know. But she had on a onesie as well. Y'all know this rubbed the kid wrong all over again, honey. She like, also, y'all didn't plan to wear onesies together. Like, this is a thing. Like, I'm annoyed. You know, him and Joy dancing. They in the same room anyway. So she just like, oh, y'all trying to be a couple, basically. And y'all rubbing it in my face, and I really don't like it. Now, playing devil's advocate here. I mean, people wear onesies and they may not even talked about it. Joy could have showed up with a onesie for her and Clifton. Clifton could have just had a onesie because that's what he likes to sleep in when he's in a group of people. And maybe Joy did too. 9 times out of 10, they talked about it. Somebody brought it or they said they was going to bring it together. And they already probably talked about sleeping in the same bed. But we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. All I know is that kid was not happy and not feeling it. And some other people made little, comments about it, but it really don't affect them. So they just went on about their lives. Then we fast forward to the next morning. Clifton wakes up. Joy is out, I think, on the veranda. And he says, oh, I was waking up this morning next to Joy. It's like Christmas. Jesus with the gifts and everything. So he had a good time, honey. Whatever did or did not happen, they had a good time being in each other's company and staying in the same bed. So I'm like, dang, that kid, it's over for you. It was over for you anyway. They already had the strongest connection, the most chemistry. Everybody's known it from day one. But he did have a Dakia connection from day one too. And it picked up speed when he met her alone. She showed him that she wasn't just business all the time. But that was that. And I was like, oh, she really gonna be mad now. But so we'll get to why she really did feel a way about it. Okay. Next up, Donovan tries to call Tina, who didn't make it last night. And, you know, that was one of his stronger connections. He the only one really checking for her, I guess. Voicemail. She don't answer. Then Joy and Dakia actually go for a talk. And I guess she's telling her basically like, I know he has a connection with somebody else and you do too. And, you know, like basically Joy's like, well, what else do you need to know? Yes, he does have a connection with me, whatever. It wasn't catty. It was just, we are expressing what it is. Okay. Then Sabrina goes to cheer up Dakia because, you know, after the conversation with Clifton the night before, them actually sleeping in the bed together and her talking to Joy, child, she was not in the best of moods. And I don't blame her. I probably went home because that was our real only connection. But anyway, so she's talking to her. Sabrina's talking to her. She's like, you know what? It's more so what I'm upset about is that we talked before we came. And Clifton was talking about how he was excited. We was going to spend time together. I was excited to spend time together with him. He said we was going to be cuddling on the couch. And all that like kind of changed. Like you decided at some point that you wanted to just be with Joy by yourself. And you didn't say anything. So I was like, yikes. So he did kind of lead her on. Or he just didn't handle things right. Yeah, you wanted to be in the bed with Joy, but you could have just been like, you know what, let me talk to that kid first. Or just let her know this probably ain't appropriate, you know? Next, Paul is meeting Dakia by the water. They go for a talk. You know, he's still trying to get his dates because Tina ain't there. And so he really ain't got nobody else either. He didn't already wrote Carmen off. So he's talking to her, saying how he would like her. And he thinks that they could be something outside of here. And he recognizes that she has all these great qualities. And so she gets kind of emotional, but you could tell like she just needed somebody to lift her up and cheer her up. She wasn't really emotional because it was Paul saying it, but just because somebody had recognized it after Clifton played her that weekend. She just really liked it, but not to necessarily say she was in this thing with Paul. But it does sound like she's open to maybe seeing where her and Paul can go because at this point she thinks Clifton is off the table. Sabrina actually had a chat with Tori and they talked, and basically she was like, yeah, I think we should just remain friends. You know, ever since this happened, it's not really working for me. Tommy comes back, and Tori is like, I think I might be going home, because of course they told him the night before that Amanda's going home tomorrow. Tomorrow somebody going home. He don't even get to stay the whole time. So Tori already knew that this wasn't going to be what it was. So he like, it's probably me going home because I don't think he had no more connections. You know, Ace left last week. So he was like, it's probably going to be me. I think Simon said, anybody heard from Tina? And Donovan said, well, I called her, but she didn't call me back. And I got a voicemail. And then the ladies go out ahead and talk to Tommy, let him know who they number ones, who they bottom and top is. And basically, Tori and Paul were on the bottom. So Sabrina comes out. And Tommy lets her do the talking, and she calls forth Paul, and she calls forth Tori. And then it's basically a cliffhanger. We don't know who's gonna go home, but it better be Tori because why wouldn't it be? That kid at least still sort of kind of got a thing with Paul, but that's that. And then they play the clips of next week. Why does Tina show up? I'm like, Tina, what the hell are you doing there for now? First of all, you got car troubles, ma'am. Uber, ma'am, rent a car. Ma'am, I feel like it's something else that could be done. But whatever, she did what she did. It was giving real, I don't really want to come, but I don't want to, like, get fined for not filming. So, something wrong with my car. Because my thing is, if all those people were going, you could have hopped a ride with somebody. Like, you could have rolled up with somebody. You only all have to ride by yourselves. But okay, Tina, we gonna go with that. But she do show up, so that is that, guys. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this week. It wasn't a whole lot, but that whole Clifton, Dakia, and Joy love triangle, honey. Because, listen, I think I forgot to mention it, but Clifton and Joy did have a talk that morning when they woke up. And Clifton wasn't giving what Joy was trying to get. Because she like, okay, so what does this mean? Like, kind of, are we together or are we just focusing on each other from here on out? Because that's what I've been doing the whole time. I didn't let people know. And he's like, well, I still got, I still got a connection with Dakia. And I'm like, Clifton, are you clueless? Because now you still got a connection with her, but you just play her all weekend long. You ain't really give her no time, no play. Sir, he like, I had to figure that out. So Joy was a little hot to trot about that because, she done been all in the bed with him the night before. And he really still don't know what he want to do. So I don't know how this gonna go, y'all. Let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share this with your friends. And until next time, see ya.